Hello everyone and welcome to Authentic Now Yoga, the online yoga studio for anybody and everybody. My name is Jody Pinile and today we're going to have a full class in the yin style, which means we'll be holding some postures a lot longer than we normally would and giving ourselves time to see what's going on and see where we can find places that are holding tension and help facilitate some release there. And since we're going to be focusing on basically the pelvic area, I want to encourage you after the class to make sure you drink water and notice that because we tend to hold a lot of tension here, that maybe some emotional release might happen. So just be gentle with yourself and know that that might be a thing that comes up. And also just to inspire that when we have more freedom here, we have more freedom on the earth, we can connect more, be more embodied, and we can play more because we just are able to use this lower half of our body for fun things like hiking and biking. Okay, so we're going to start with our meditation piece, which is in our easy seated pose. And since we're focused on this part of our body, I want you to just make sure that you take the time to find a pose that's going to work for yourself. And if you need to stop and get some support like blankets or bolsters or cushions so that you can sit up a little higher so that this can release more when you're seated too low for the flexibility in your pelvis and your legs are working hard to like stay up or hold you up, that's counterproductive. So sit up a little higher, let your legs drop a little further, and then all this can relax more. And then you can find your nice, easy, uplifted spine. And it's a posture you can stay in for a little while you're working on bringing your mind to more stillness. And whether you have your eyes open or closed, we're just connecting or bringing our awareness and our attention to our being. So our physical body, our breath, the moment. Yeah, just working on that, practicing mindfulness. Now I'll be quiet for a little while so you can do your thing. Nice. And with these next few breath cycles, just bring your awareness down into your pelvic area. See what else you might notice. Are there any places, where you're holding tension? Maybe feel some just stuckness or lack of life. Or maybe you notice a lot of life. Whatever you see is good. Nice, and then let's send our breath there and then allow that breath to fill the whole being. Nice, and whenever Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So when we are practicing more of a yin style posture or practice, and we're staying in a posture for extended periods of time, we might wonder what should we be doing, what should be happening, what's good, what's not helpful. So the purpose of allowing ourselves to spend time is we give our bodies this space and time to let go as it wants to, rather than us kind of trying to force anything. So it's like a luxury to just spend that kind of time and allow those muscles or whatever needs to open and soften, to just have that space to do it. It gives us time to really focus and notice what's happening in certain areas. What's our relationship to discomfort? What goes on in us when we're starting to feel discomfort? Is it like panic? Is it, I gotta move, I gotta get out of, I'm trapped? Or are we comfortable with just sitting with that discomfort and allowing that to work its way through? So there's so much to pay attention to that you can pay attention to. I'm not suggesting that you pay attention to all of that in every moment, but those are some things to have your awareness on while you're in a pose. And noticing if there is true discomfort, there should be no pain, but if there is discomfort that your body said, this isn't good, then you get to choose, then you get to move out of that, like really advocate for your body. Listen to your body and let it tell you when it's not in its best interest to be saying this. And then you can shift out into something that works a little better, or just even move slightly in a slightly different angle. Okay, I just wanted to say that. So we're going to start with a little bit of warming up. And let's just find our hands behind ourselves, nice and supported, and our knees bent, our feet mat width apart. And we'll just shift those knees back and forth. And notice a difference, left and right. You're probably going to. I'd always do. One side is a little more free, one side's a little more resistant. Yeah, so just start to loosen it all up. Yeah. All right, let's come down to our elbows and do the same thing, just a slightly different angle. Nice, and then we'll come all the way down to the back, and same thing. Your arms could be out to the sides, or they could be in cactus or goalpost position. We're just going to stay here for a little bit. So back and forth a few more times, noticing any differences between those angles. And then just pick a side and let the knees start to settle in sync. If you want to take the lower ankle, bring it on top of that knee for a little extra help, help in deepening. And we're still warming up, so we won't stay here terribly long, but we'll give ourselves a little taste of the yin. Yeah, all right, let's release. We'll bring those knees back up and over to the other side. Put the lower ankle on top of that top knee if that feels good and appropriate. And just resting, allowing, breathing. And then let's release that. Bring the knees back up again. Let's just give them a nice, gentle hug into the chest. So just start slow and then slowly move your way to a little bit deeper of a squeeze. Seeing if you can notice what's happening in the pelvis, the low back. If you can't hold on to your knees, just hold on behind your thighs. All right, let's hold behind the knees. We're going to roll ourselves up, see if we can make that a nice round shape in your back as opposed to a round, flat, clunk, clunk kind of experience. And then we're gonna roll ourselves up and all the way over, and we're gonna come into a child's pose. So there's a whole video on modifications. We're gonna stay here for a little while, so if you need to pause and figure out what child's pose modification is gonna work for you, or variation, it's a good time to do it. And then we'll just find ourselves here. It's a nice time to pause and set an intention if that's part of your practice. Just reconnect with your breath. And then we'll just stay here for a while and see what happens. Remember if there's true discomfort and pain. Listen to your body. Things that you can do if you find places that are complaining. You can send your breath there. Imagine that breath is permeating that space and allowing it to soften and release. And you're allowed to move. You don't need to be static. You can maybe wiggle a tiny bit, or even if you need to massage someplace. The idea is more stillness, so it can be tempting to get right in there, but rather keeping that focus and that energy gentle and quiet. Let's take a few nice deep breaths, sending it down into your pelvis. And let's come up a little bit. We're going to widen the knees. We're going to come down. We won't stay as long, but let's just give ourselves a little time with this change in posture. Again, please use support if you need it. All right, a deep breath here as you work your way out. Nice. All right, we're gonna come down into a deer pose, or come up into a deer pose. We're gonna bring that left shin forward and the right shin back. And we're gonna find those sit bones in connection with the mat. And if you can't get them both down on the mat, then put a blanket or a towel or something underneath the lower one and see if you can get them to balance out. So that way you can come up with a nice tall spine. And then we're gonna come and face this left thigh and fold over any amount. So you can take a blanket, a towel, or whatever. If that works better for you, you can fold directly on the thigh, or maybe you're just not gonna make it very far, and that's okay too. Just find some place, some position where you can stand or sustain your posture for a while. And nothing is etched in stone. If you think you know where you want to be and then you get into it and 10 breaths later you're like, that's not going to work. Feel free to move. Let's say about 20 more seconds. A few deep breaths. Really fueling that place that we've been working. And find yourself up. Let's take the hands off the side a little bit and just have a small spiral twist, lengthening the spine and then spiraling over to the left. Beautiful. Bring yourselves back up. We'll shift our legs. So the right shin is forward and the left shin is back, and then balance out the sit bones, facing over the right thigh and finding your fold. Notice how slowly I move into this posture, finding what's my edge. Let's take 20 more seconds. What will you do with that time? Nice. Let's take a few deep breaths. Working the way out. Nice. Come on up. We'll take the hands over to the side and just find a little twist here. Okay, let's come over to all fours. So we're gonna work with some low lunges here. You need a little extra support under your knees. Take that. If you need some blocks or soup cans or whatever sort of support you might need for finding a lunge that works for your body, go ahead and take that. And we'll just find that organic wiggle spine connection. Yeah. All right, let's step the right foot forward. So find whatever sort of distance is going to work as long as your knee is pretty much over that ankle. The hips are squared up. The feet are in the same lane as the hip. The back heel's pointing towards the ceiling as opposed to flopping out or flopping in. Yeah, and then I'm just going to give myself time here. So I'm not going to stay in this pose yet. I'm just playing with opening up, letting my body know what's coming. Hey, heads up. Loosen up. Nice. All right, bring that back in. If you need to wiggle, wiggle. Let's switch sides. Yeah, so just witnessing, what happens when I am in this position? Do I need blocks? Beautiful. All right, let's step that back in. If you need blocks, this is the place where we're going to employ them. We'll step forward. And so find what level of bend with your upper body you can bring into this. Perhaps the hands can be on the mat. Maybe you're going to come inside that foot a little bit. Or maybe there's no way those hands are getting down there and you're using your block and it's just going to be a little bit more of an upright position. So just play with that and then we'll stay here for a little while and see what happens. Again, all we're doing is giving our bodies time and space to let go and for us to learn more about what's going on in there. Finding a long spine wherever it is you are. Sometimes I just take little tiny micro wiggles, seeing if I can set something free there. All right, let's take 2 breaths into that place of discomfort. And then we're going to shift the hips up, walk our hands back, extend that front leg if that's available. Bring your blocks with you if you need them. So again, adjusting that angle. Where can your hands go? Squaring up the hips. This right hip might want to go forward. Just bring that back. We'll stay here, not as long, but we'll stay here for a little while until our hamstrings start to calm down. If you find yourself grunting, gasping, maybe you went too far. Nice, all right. Let's bring that forward and back just a few times. Make it more friendly. Nice, all right, meet forward. We'll bring that knee back in. Don't need to do any wiggles. It's a good time for that. And otherwise, we'll just bring that left foot forward. Find the lunge here. Find the hand position, hand height, spine length. Depth of the groin, the pelvis. Back heel up towards the ceiling. Okay, a few more deep breaths. What else do you have? Beautiful. Lovely. Just walk back. Find your position here. What can you sustain for a little bit? Square up the hips. Again, that left hip might have wanted to come forward. One deep breath. And let's come forward and back. Yeah, this should not in any way be a traumatic experience. Something that we dread. Never, oops, come forward, and then we'll bring that knee back in. Okay, so I'm gonna come to seated on my heels. And then I'm going to sit between my heels. And there's another video on that because there are a lot of different possibilities that you might need to take for your authentic body. But I'm going to start to sit between my heels and I can get those calf muscles out of the way. And just take a few breath cycles here while your body adjusts to whatever posture you have found for yourself. All right, then we're going to start to take this back. So a little reclined Vajrasana. So maybe it's a little bit, just coming back on your hands. Maybe it's a little further, coming back on your elbows. Maybe it's a little further, coming all the way down onto your back. Once your knees pop up though, that's too far, so just back that off a little bit. If you feel like, I could get down a little further if I had a blanket behind me. That's an option. hands can be in contact with the feet. They can reach up and over. So, as you can tell, this is a fairly extreme posture. Maybe not for you and your body. You can even take that a little bit further, perhaps by lifting the hips. Just find your relationship with this. Find that position that's going to help you stay a while and soften and open. The head can come back if that is respectful of the neck. And just will some softness into those tight spots. A few more big breaths. Nice. If your head is back, just slowly bring it forward. Walk yourself up kindly. Nice. All right, we're going to open up the fronts a little bit, or work on opening the fronts a little more. So we're going to come all the way to the belly and walk those knees back to the wall. Shins up the wall, toes pointing forward. So I'm going to tell you your options here. One is maybe this works, resting your forehead on your hands. And there's enough happening here where you feel like, yeah, I'm working on some openings here. Chin in your hands is another option. Elbows under shoulders, maybe like that. You can take some blankets under your upper body. And if none of that is really enough, or you can even bring your hands for cobra. But another possibility is just reaching and taking a hold of a foot. All right, so just find that posture that works for you. The knees they might want to spread apart. Try and keep them in the lane of the hips and the toes just up towards the ceiling, right out of the knee. Yes, nice. And then we'll just spend a little time here. So the pelvis might want to pop up a little bit. Just try and keep that in contact with the mat. Feel the openings there. Let's take another 20 seconds. few deep breaths as you work your way out. Bring yourself forward. We're going to come into a child's pose just to counteract that little back bend. Really let that round wherever you are, whatever that looks like. Send some breath down into the lower back. Nice. All right, and we're going to come down onto our backs. Let's just gently hold the knees in. You can start to wiggle them around. Yeah, just create a little more freedom again. Make some bicycle shapes, pedaling shapes. Nice. All right, let's bring the feet to the mat. Knees are bent. We're going to take the left ankle over the right knee. Push that left knee away from the body. Nice, and release that. Then we're going to reach through, make a clasp behind the thigh or in front of the shin, whatever your body is up for. And then we're just going to move all of that back towards the chest. Just squeezing that in, slowly, gently, allowing that time and space to release as opposed to putting a clamp on it. Maybe as things loosen up, you can move from the thigh to the shin with your clasp. It's nice to just use your little mind's eye x-ray vision to try and imagine what's going on in there. Try and paint a picture based on what you feel in that hip. Yes, all right. A few deep breaths. And let's gently release. We're going to bring that right foot to the mat. We're going to slide the left foot down into the hip crease and extend that right leg. Let that left knee fall to the mat. Just holding on to that left foot. A few breath cycles. Nice. All right, let's bring that right foot back in. Release the left foot to the mat. Wiggle if you need to wiggle. Then we'll take the right ankle over the left knee, reach, push that right knee away first. Release that, and then we'll make the clasp either behind the thigh or in front of the shin. And see what happens. All right, a few deep breath cycles here. Release that foot to the mat and then, let's slide the right foot into the left hip crease first. And then extend that left leg, allowing that right knee to drop. Doesn't really drop, it really slowly goes down, or not. Yes. All right, slide that foot back up, release the legs. See if you can find a block or a book or even a blanket or a towel. We're going to find a little bridge pose here, and we're going to bring our block or blanket underneath. And depending on what kind of flexibility you have here, is going to be how high that support is going to come. And what we're going to want to do with this position is work on extending one leg at a time and maybe both legs. So if you can't make it into the full bridge on the end of the block and still extend your legs, so just come down a layer and just play back and forth, extending one leg and the other. And then ultimately, maybe both legs come out, or maybe you're just going to still need to pause with one and then switch sides. Arms can be by your sides. It can be overhead. Grab opposite elbows. Just play with that arm position. Allowing the breath to flow. And just work your way out, bending one knee and then the other, or if you already have one knee bent, just having them both bent. Lift up your hips. Remove whatever support you had there. Yeah, and then just tilt your pelvis forward and back, lifting the tailbone a little, lifting the lower back. Nice. And then we're going to do one last reclined cobbler's pose. So it can look like this, just flat down on the mat with the bottoms of the feet together. Or you can build yourself a little recliner with some blocks, blankets. And this you can hold for a little while, or you can have this be your Shavasana pose. You choose. Stay as long as you like, or as little as you like. simply witnessing, facilitating release anywhere we can. And if you want to move out of that into your Shavasana, it's a nice time to do it. You can take any little shapes or movements if you need that as you transition. Or just simply stay there. Paying particular attention to your pelvis, sending it some love, encouraging more release, draining out anything you don't need, any toxins, thoughts, energy that your being is ready to release. Just let that go down into the earth. These next few breath cycles, imagine that breath is filling that whole area, almost like a little, closing it in a bubble. Nice, and then you could start to introduce some movement. Work your way out of your Shavasana as you feel called to do. Find your way to your right side. And make your way up to your seated position. If it feels safe and good to keep your eyes closed, do that. Find that seated pose again. Feel grounding into that pelvis. Yeah. And just check in. What do you notice? Is there anything you want to express gratitude for or celebrate? Or maybe take with you into your day? Nice. And one more full breath into the whole being. Nice. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Namaste. Whew. I hope that felt as nurturing to your body as it minded to mine. And just again reminding you to drink a lot of water and be gentle if you notice anything coming up. Doesn't mean it's going to, just it might. Otherwise, thank you so much for practicing with me today. If you like this and want more, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the section below. Otherwise, have a very wonderful, grounded day.